What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. Spring practice has already started for some teams like Florida, and we're going to give you our pre-spring top 25 now. This is the latest top 25 poll, the first top 25 poll since the way too early top 25 poll. So obviously a lot has changed since then. We now know all the players that went to the draft. We know destinations for a lot of players that were in the transfer portal. So a lot more information, a lot more research has been done. We now have some good numbers out there for returning production that we can look at, and also I have all the information that I use myself. And I'm not going to go too in depth with these teams because we've done a lot of them in the videos where I've done if the team is going to be better or worse, and just kind of giving my early thoughts on each team. A lot of the teams in the top 25 we've already done that with, so if you missed those videos, go over to the team channels. Just go to sg1sports.com/channels, and you can find links to all of the channels, and you can kind of get more information if you just want more about my thoughts on a particular team. So let's get into it here. And you know, it was interesting when I did my way too early top 25 poll. I said it was pretty clear to me there were 25 teams. These were the 25 teams I wanted to put in my top 25. Now it's much tougher because there are more than 25 teams that I think deserve or are close to deserving a chance to be in the top 25. There are going to be a lot of teams that are right there on that line of last 5 in the top 25, or maybe the next 10 even teams that could potentially be in there. So you know, if your team's not in there and you think they should be, it's very possible that I considered them. And again, I can only fit 25 teams in here. So let's get into it, starting at the bottom. I've got 25 at Washington. Washington was not in my way too early top 25 poll, but I really like the production that they have coming back. They're number 15 in the country in returning production, including number 7 with 91% of their offense coming back. This is a Washington team that had a short season last year. Obviously, a lot of teams in the Pac-12 did, but we saw some glimpses of a team that has a chance, I think, to compete in the Pac-12 North. So Washington there at number 25 for me. Ole Miss at number 24. Matt Corral back at quarterback. We know what kind of offense they're going to have. They're going to be explosive. I think they're going to improve on defense. You bring in some transfers, you get some more experience for younger guys, and I think, you know, this defense was really depleted last year. They had wide receivers playing defensive back last year, and I think you're going to see the defense play better. They're not going to be a great defense, but they're going to be good enough to, with this offense, be a team that is going to be very dangerous. We have Penn State at number 23. Team that I like coming back this year to turn it around. You know, they finished last year strong. Sean Clifford back at quarterback. They should be healthier at running back, including bringing in a transfer from Baylor. So I like Penn State. I like what they have coming back on defense, especially in the back 7. Penn State's going to be a good team this year. I think they're going to really turn things around. USC at number 22. A team that has the talent. They have Keaton Slovis back at quarterback. Can they put it together? They're one of those teams that has been talented enough to make a big jump now for several years, but they just haven't been able to do it. Can Clay Helton finally get USC to take that next step? Of course, last year looked like it was going to be a really good year, and it was a good year, but losing in the Pac-12 championship really just kind of erased what would have been a solid year for USC last year, or a really good year for USC last year. And then we have Iowa at number 21. This is a team that has, of course, Petrus coming back at quarterback. They lose a lot of their weapons around him. In fact, they're ranked number 70 in returning production on offense, number 48 in defense. So this is a team that doesn't have a ton of production coming back, but I like what they do have coming back. And Iowa's one of those teams that they don't reload like Alabama, but they're so well coached that they're always going to be a good team. And I think they deserve to be there at number 21. And also, when you talk about skill positions, losing those guys, that's usually not something that I worry as much about, because those are the types of players that are honestly easier to replace. So I think Iowa is still going to be in good shape. I think they have a good shot to win the Big Ten West this year. At number 20, we've got Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, of course, was one of the biggest stories of college football last season. And now you wonder, well, what's going to happen? Are they going to drop off? Was this a one-year thing? Well, they got a lot coming back. They actually ranked number 21 in returning production, especially on the defensive side. That's where they've got it coming back. 4th in the country in returning production on defense. This was a good defense last year. They bring back their starting quarterback as well. Coastal Carolina, I think, once again, will be a top 25 team. Will they run the table in the regular season again? I don't know about that, but I think they will be right there with maybe one loss. We'll see. Liberty at number 19. Liberty beat Coastal Carolina in the bowl game. They only had one loss last year, and they have a ton of production coming back. In fact, Liberty is number 6 in the country in returning production, number 2 in offense behind only Miami. And so you look at what they're going to have back on offense and the explosiveness of this Hugh Freeze offense. To have a lot on defense, they're 33rd in defense, so most of their defense comes back as well, 79%. Liberty is going to be a dangerous team once again, and they're going to have a chance to knock off some big teams once again this year. We've got Texas at number 18. Texas has a lot of question marks, but we know they're going to have the talent. You saw Casey Thompson in the bowl game look good. Bijan Robinson is the future at running back. Steve Sarkisian taking over. How does that work? You know, Texas is kind of a mystery. We don't know. This team has the potential to be a top 15 team, but they also have a potential to not be in the top 25. So I've got them at 18. I think that's fair. Wisconsin, I have at number 17. Badgers have a lot coming back. This is a team that was really, it was like two different teams last season, kind of like Penn State, but opposite. Wisconsin started off hot, then they really struggled. A lot of that had to do with guys out at the wide receiver position. All of those guys are coming back. Some of them were seniors that had a chance to leave. They'll be back. Jake Ferguson back at tight end. Graham Mertz, we've seen his potential. They got to get back to running the football, doing what Wisconsin always does, but they're ranked number 22 in returning production on defense. So this is a team that's going to be solid, and I think the early favorite in the Big Ten West. Iowa, though, definitely up there as well. We have Oregon at number 16. This was the youngest team in college football last year. Tyler Shuck leaving was a bit of a surprise, but you've still got Anthony Brown, a veteran there at quarterback. And I just look at everything they have coming back. The skill positions, everyone comes back. Everyone's back on the offensive line. Defense, they lose a couple of guys on the defensive line, but in the back end, they've got everyone coming back pretty much. They rank number 11 in returning production on offense, number 19 in returning production on defense. I don't know if that include those numbers. The offensive numbers probably include Tyler Shuck coming back, so you could maybe change that around a little bit. But still, they have a lot coming back this year, and I think Oregon is the early favorite to win the Pac-12. Let's go to 11 through 15. I've got Florida at number 15 just because I trust Dan Mullen and his offense. They lost so much on that side of the ball, but he's proven that year in and year out, his teams are going to have a good offense. So I'm not too worried about it. Emory Jones is a guy that has had some playing time. They've got options there if things don't work out with him. I think the offense will be okay. I think the defense might even get better. They brought in some transfers. This is a Florida team that's probably not going to challenge Georgia, but they're still going to be a good team, and they're going to be able to beat most teams in the SEC. Louisiana, number 14. Look out for this team. Louisiana is number one in the country in returning production. They bring back 96% of their production, 93% on offense, 98% on defense. That's number one in the country as well. It's simply experience. Louisiana brings it all back. This was a really good team last year, finishing with just that one loss to Coastal Carolina. They also beat Iowa State. Remember that? Louisiana going to be a very dangerous team, and watch out because they play Texas, and that could be a potential win for, I don't even know if Louisiana will be an underdog. They might be favored in that game. I've got them ranked ahead of Texas, so we'll see. But Miami here at number 13, another team that brings pretty much everyone back. They lose Brevin Jordan at tight end. That's really the only player on offense. They're number one in returning production on offense. Defensively, they bring back 86% of their production there. A couple of great defensive ends are gone, yes, but everyone else is coming back, and Miami has a chance, I think, with De'Aaron King at quarterback. If he's healthy, this team has a chance to be really good next year. Maybe the second best team in the ACC behind Clemson. Indiana at number 12. Indiana, of course, surprised a lot of people last year. They didn't really surprise me. I thought this was going to be a top 25 team. Maybe they were a little better than I thought. I think it had more to do with the Big Ten just kind of being down. But Michael Penix back at quarterback. If he can stay healthy, this offense should be pretty good. They're number 39 in returning production on that side of the ball. Number 26 in returning production on defense. Number 24 overall, bringing back 80% of their production. And I like what they got going there. Tom Allen has done a great job as their head coach. He's proven that he can get it done. And I think Indiana is a dangerous team in 2021. And then we close out outside of the top 10 here with Notre Dame at number 11. Jack Cohn, how is he going to do at quarterback? That's the big question. But this team, they lose a lot. They rank 123rd in returning production, only 49% of their overall production. 123rd on offense, 108th on defense. They just lost a ton. They lost a ton. Kyron Williams is back at running back. That's the good news, but the losses on the offensive line, great players on defense gone. I think Notre Dame takes a bit of a step back. I don't think they drop off too far, but they're just outside the top 10 for me. Let's get into the top 10 now. We'll go to number 10. That's Cincinnati. Cincinnati, Desmond Ridder back at quarterback. This is a team that has a good bit of production coming back as well. They're ranked number 41 in returning production. A lot coming back on offense. They proved last year that they can play with the best teams in the country. That's why I have them in the top 10. They almost beat Georgia, of course, last season. Texas A&M at number 9 for me. The losses on the offensive line worry me, but the more I dig into it and look at guys that have had some experience, some new guys coming in, I'm not too concerned about that. I think the big question for Texas A&M is going to be the quarterback spot. Haynes King, what do we get from him? Defensively, they lost some really good players, but I think the depth is strong there. And I think Texas A&M, with a three-headed monster in the backfield, maybe the best running back group in the country, is going to be really good once again. Maybe not quite as good as last year, but just outside that top 5. We had them at number 9. LSU at number 8. I think this is a team that makes a huge jump. They bring back a ton of production. LSU rarely brings back this kind of production. They just don't. Usually, most of their team is gone because they have so many great players that go to the NFL. But they bring back 82% of their offense, 76% of their defense. I think this is a team that's going to surprise some people if you think they're going to be bad again. You got Max Johnson, who now has some experience at quarterback. Miles Brennan, if he can get back and get healthy, you've got two options there. They're really loaded on offense. Everyone back on the offensive line. LSU is going to be an improved team, and I think a team that might be the 3rd or 4th best team in the SEC. North Carolina at number 7. We know what they're capable of on offense. We've seen it now for the last couple of years. Sam Howell will be back, and yes, you lose some guys around him, but they also bring in, they also have some guys still on the roster that I think are ready to step up. Plus, they bring in Ty Chandler from Tennessee at running back. This is a team that has a lot coming back, though, on defense. They are number 28 in the country on defense, bringing back 81%. It was a very young defense last year. We saw them get better towards the end of the season, and because of that defense, with Sam Howell back at quarterback, I think North Carolina becomes a very dangerous team. Iowa State, I have it number 6. The more I look at this Iowa State team, the more I like what I see. Brock Purdy coming back, of course. Breece Hall coming back. This is a team that, when I looked at the Big 12, I thought, yeah, Oklahoma's going to win the Big 12. There's no one that's really going to challenge them. And the more I look at this Iowa State team, the more I think Iowa State could challenge Oklahoma this year. I think it's a two-team race in that conference. This team brings back 94% of their offense, 81% of their defense. They're number 4 in the country in total returning production. And this is a team that just won a New Year's Six Bowl. Iowa State is a very dangerous team, and they are, I think, a legitimate playoff contender. Now, are they one of my top choices for the playoff? No, but they're a contender, and they're in that discussion, and I have them just outside the top 5. At number 5, we've got Ohio State. We know they do it year in and year out. Just don't really see anyone challenging them in the Big Ten this year. It's all about the quarterback spot, who's going to win that battle, and what kind of production did they get. They seem to just reload there, so I'm assuming that Ryan Day is going to get it done. I trust him on that offensive side of the ball. They have some questions on defense, especially in the secondary, some areas where they need to improve. So Ohio State's a team that right now I don't see being capable of winning a national championship, but I think they're capable of getting to the college football playoff once again, mostly just because, the Big Ten is not going to be that tough, and just the overall talent of this roster. They're going to be really good. If the quarterback play and the secondary play can improve for them, or secondary can improve and the quarterback position can do what it has done in the past and not let up, yeah, they could win a national championship, but they're in that discussion regardless. Just a few question marks to me, and that's why I have them outside of the top 4. These top 4 teams, to me, all are the favorites, the early favorites. Oklahoma bringing so much back on both sides of the ball. Spencer Rattler coming back. They lost some guys, but I think this team, is going to be really, really dangerous. They finished the year really strong last year. And they, again, Iowa State's there with them, but Oklahoma, I think, is still the favorite in the Big 12. Georgia at number 3. Just look at what they have coming back on offense. Pretty much everyone. This Georgia team offensively actually brings back 84% of their production. Now, defensively, there are some question marks. Only 39% of their production on defense. But this is Kirby Smart, and he has been able to reload this defense every single year. They've recruited at such a high level. I think they'll be okay. They may not have the best defense that we've seen from Georgia in the last few years, but they may not have to because of how good this offense should be with JT Daniels at quarterback. I'm telling you, Georgia is a team that can challenge Alabama in the SEC, but I still have Alabama ahead of them at number 2. I really like this team and what they have coming back. I know they lost a ton of production, but when you just look at the roster and how much talent is on it, especially on defense, they're going to be really good on defense. They didn't lose that much there. Offensively, it's going to be about the quarterback position. Can Bryce Young get it done? That'll be the question, and really the only question for them there. You know, they bring back 77% of their defense. That's a pretty high number, and especially at that linebacker spot, they're going to be really good. But I do have Clemson at number 1. Clemson brings back a ton on defense as well. Offensively, yes, you're replacing Trevor Lawrence, but here's the difference for me with Clemson and Alabama. With Clemson, I've seen DJ Uiagalelei play. I've seen him play. I've seen him play in a big game and play well. I haven't seen Bryce Young play. If Bryce Young had to play in a game last year and he had played well, I'd probably have Alabama number 1. But it's just the unknown there. And because of that, I'm going to put Clemson at number 1. It's close, but I think the Tigers, with everything they have coming back, has a slight advantage when we look at these rosters. But Alabama is right there behind them. Of course, they recruited at an insane level, especially this past recruiting class, the best recruiting class ever. So Alabama, I think, could make an argument for number 1, but watch out for Georgia. Again, that offense is going to be really good. Oklahoma going to be good on both sides of the ball. I think all 4 of these top 4 teams have a really good shot to win it all this year. And then Ohio State, again, you can't count them out. We've got them at number 5, but all of these teams are definitely playoff contenders, and these are your front runners. So do you guys agree or disagree with my top 25? Where would you move teams up? Where would you move them down? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, there were several teams that almost made it in. Some teams that were in my way too early top 25 that dropped out. But we have to put 25 teams in there. So this is who it wound up being. So give me your thoughts again down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.